Hare Krishna. So we are happy to be back here to continue our discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit, which is based on our dear Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's Caitanya Pravah. So we are today beginning the Madhya Khanda, the Madhya Leela. So we covered the what is that? The Adi Leela, the entire philosophy part, and now we are beginning our Madhya Leela. So this is like the nectar flow, the pravaha of Amrit, the Leelas of the Lord Gauranga are going to be revealed. Adi Leela basically describes the philosophy, the Siddhanta, and who Lord Chaitanya is, who Lord Nityananda is, what is the Siddhanta, what is the philosophy, and the childhood pastimes. And now we will come to the various Leelas of Mahaprabhu after accepting sannyas. So that's what the Madhya Leela is at the preaching of Lord Chaitanya and his associates, his absorption in the mood of the gopis during the Rath Yatra, his travels to Vrindavan, to South India, his teachings to Rupa and Sanatan. That's another major part. We will be discussing Rupa and Sanatan Shiksha, and various other Leelas in Madhya Leela will be described. So that's what Madhya Leela will cover. And very beautifully, Vrindavan Das Thakur begin this Leela, this chapter, with a beautiful verse which we will recite. Yasya prasadat agyopi sadya sarvajnanata brajet sa Shri Chaitanya Devo me Bhagavan samprasidati prasidato. Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Yasya prasadat agya api. Yasya means of whose, by whose. Prasad, everyone knows what prasad means. What is the meaning of prasad? Literal meaning of word prasadam. Madhav Priya, you know what is the meaning of prasad? Huh? Or anyone wants to tell what is the meaning of word prasad? Mercy, yes. Krishna Prabhu says the meaning is mercy. Yes, Madhav Priya. You want to say?
Yes, Prabhu. Prasad is mercy or blessing, something we receive.
Yes, something that we receive. Yes. So this is the beautiful beginning of this verse. Is mercy. Yasya prasadat. Yes, by whose mercy? And who is the person who is receiving the mercy? Is agya. Agya api is, agya means one who has no knowledge. Gyan, everyone knows gyan in Hindi means
knowledge.
Knowledge, yes. Agya means one who does not have knowledge. So this is, we are talking about yasya prasada agya api. Api means be or and. Yes. Agya. Jnana means knowledge, and agya means one who does not have knowledge. Sadhya, immediately. Sadhya. Sadhya means immediately. So what happens to that? Sadhya sarva gyatam vrajet. And what he can do is sarva jnana vrajet. He gets all the knowledge. One who is agya, that is someone who does not have knowledge. What happens to him? Yasya prasadat agyopi, one who has no knowledge of anything. He does not know A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. He has no knowledge of anything. What happens to him if he gets prasad, not the dal, chawal, roti, sabji, the prasad in the form of mercy? Whose mercy? Sa Shri Chaitanya Devo me. Who is Shri Chaitanya Dev, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one who gets Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prasad, that means Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Prasad or the food which when we offer to the Lord is one form of mercy, one form of prasad. But prasadam can be, in general, prasad means mercy or kripa. It can manifest as food what we eat. It can manifest, as somebody mentioned, as blessings. It can manifest as kripa, or in various other forms, in the form of association, in the form of katha, in the form of beautiful deities at home, in the form of, how can we get mercy? Anyone else want to say how do we get mercy?
By serving devotees.
By serving devotees, that is also prasad. So therefore, serving devotees is also a form of prasad. What else? Prasadam?
Actual prasadam.
Yes, actual eating, honoring prasadam. Yes, definitely. Most important, yes, purified food which we honor is definitely prasad, mercy. Anyone else? Any other mercy? Anyone else? Where we get mercy, where we get prasad? Chaitanya, you want to say something? No? Any other mercy we get or blessings we get? Namish, you want to say? Yes, please. You can speak, Prabhu. Okay, let me see who has. I can't see the raised hands. Okay. Sri Radha. Anyways, so different. Anyways, I'm not able to hear anyone, but let us see. Okay, so there are different ways one can get mercy. One is by food, one is by blessings, one is by getting some service to the Vaishnavas, one is getting to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, getting to hear Chaitanya Charitamrita. But here Kaviraj Goswami is explaining, Yasya prasadat agya api, one who does not know anything, one who does not know ABCD, 1, 2, 3, 4, algebra, trigonometry, science, has not read Bhagavad Gita also. Nothing he knows. What that person can get. Sadhya means immediately sarva jnanam rajet. He can get all the knowledge. How is that possible? Whose mercy that can happen? Who can do that? Whose mercy? Someone who does not know anything. He doesn't know any knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, any knowledge of body, any knowledge of soul. But such a person also, what he can get by the mercy of Lord. Who is that Lord? Sah Shri Chaitanya Devo Me. Yes. Sah Shri Chaitanya Devo Me Bhagavan Samprasidito. One he can get that mercy, may bestow his costless mercy. So therefore, Kaviraj Goswami is saying, even a person with no knowledge can immediately acquire all knowledge. It's like this, you don't have to go in your 5th standard, 6th standard, you are passed in directly to 10th standard. That's special mercy by the school. Sometimes, I don't know whether you have exams nowadays or no. Online exams, na?
Yeah.
But then, yes, it's like this. Mahaprabhu's mercy is like online exam. Everyone is passed. Just by one glance of Lord Chaitanya, one can get all the knowledge. You can pass your +2, you can do your medical, you can do your engineer, whatever. Just by, that means basically by the kripa, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, one who is the most foolish person can get the blessings of all knowledge. Kaviraj Goswami says, even a person with no knowledge can immediately acquire all knowledge simply by benediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, what do I do? Therefore, what should we do? I am praying to the Lord for his causeless mercy upon me. So that's how Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter, that this is, I am seeking the blessings of Mahaprabhu because by your mercy we can get, even though we may not be knowledgeable, we may not be very intelligent, but all that can be given as prasad, as mercy, which is easily absorbed, easily acceptable by all. Everyone likes to honor prasad?
Yes.
Anyone who does not like to take prasad?
Sometimes.
Some things which you don't like. But if something which you like, is made, you like to take, everyone is happy to take prasad. Yeah? Most of the times, everyone is happy.
Yeah.
So this is Mahaprabhu's mercy is like that, that it brings all the knowledge immediately to anyone who accepts it. We just have to offer our respects, offer our pranams, and Mahaprabhu is ready to give his mercy. So basically, this chapter which we are discussing today describes the summary of the entire remaining Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Madhya Leela and the Anta Leela. So what we are going to discuss today is basically a summary of the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, whatever is there. So Kaviraj Goswami, okay. I don't have the rights to, I think, unmute. But anyways, so whoever is the host can unmute when somebody raises the hand.
You can unmute, but I can accept it.
Okay, somebody raises, they can. Perfect.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
the form of prasada I wanted to say is like attaining kirtan of great souls like Radhanath Swami Maharaj.
Yes, that is also prasad. Yes, you're right. Thank you. So this chapter basically is a summary of the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela and Anta Leela, whatever the remaining Leelas Kaviraj Goswami is going to describe are described in this first chapter. Because Kaviraj Goswami, when he was writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, anyone knows how old he was?
Prabhuji, 90.
Yeah, more than 90 years old. Who has seen someone in their family who is more than 90 years? Anyone of you have seen your grandfather 90 plus? Or
My
great-grandfather?
friend's great-grandfather is 104.
He's 104, really?
Yeah.
Where in Bombay?
I don't know, but yeah, he is 104.
Okay, but you have seen most of the time people beyond 90 are very old and so difficult to even speak and walk and do anything. Grandfather's mother, 90 plus, Chinmay Prabhu and Tharuni are writing. But I'm sure, but then they must be mostly, people at that age are very old and very sick and difficult to even walk and even talk. And that time when Kaviraj Goswami wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita around 50 years back or 500 years back, there were no medical facilities so much in terms of scientific. What we see now was advanced. So there was no cataract operation or eye operation or, this is Chaitanya Prabhu is saying grandfather is 1,000 plus, 100 plus maybe he wants to write. Yes. So, but we see people are very difficult, and you don't know how long the person will live. So therefore, Kaviraj Goswami that time decided that I am 94 when I am writing. My hands are shaking. I have so many diseases also. But he was so absorbed, and he was asked to write Chaitanya Charitamrita by all the devotees because he would hear from Raghunath Das Goswami, who would give everyday classes on Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Kaviraj Goswami was very attentively listening. So that was the skill devotees saw. Hey, this Kaviraj Goswami, he is very attentively hearing. So therefore, he should be asked to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so Chaitanya Charitamrita, after writing Adi Leela, Kaviraj Goswami was thinking, I'm not sure whether I'll live for long or not, whether I'll be able to describe all the Leelas or not. So what I'll do is, at least in Madhya Leela, chapter 1 which I am writing, I will describe in brief, in two lines, all the stories. So that at least somebody can later on elaborate on it. But so that at least I do this part and I will write down all the stories. So that's what Kaviraj Goswami did, is in this chapter which we are discussing, he describes the entire Madhya Leela and Anta Leela. So we will just basically go through the summary of entire Madhya Leela and Anta Leela a little bit today, describe just the flow of the events. And as we move on every day, we will go into the details of every story. So basically today it's sort of like when the first class happens of a semester or a year, when you go into a new class, the subject you see, you get a book, and you just read the whole book and see what chapters are there, what are we going to talk about, what are we going to discuss. So that's what we are going to do. They're going to tell you what the next few sessions of yours of Caitanya Pravah are going to talk in detail. So that's what we are going to talk today. So basically there are three divisions of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. The first is Adi Leela, that is the first 24 years of Mahaprabhu's Leela when he was at home. And anyone knows what happened when Mahaprabhu was 24 years old?
He took the sannyas?
Yes, he took sannyas. So that's the turning point. So most of those stories have been discussed so far. And after 24 years, the other part of the Leela is called Shesha Leela. That's the first is Adi Leela before sannyas. And after sannyas, that is called the Shesha Leela. That is the remaining part of Lord Chaitanya's manifest pastimes and stories. And of the Shesha Leela, there is again further subdivided, the Shesha Leela. So Adi Leela is first 24 years, Shesha Leela is the remaining 24 years, and of that remaining 24 years, they are divided into two parts. One is Madhya Leela and the other is Antya Leela. So now we have remaining 24 years, out of which the first 6 years, where Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, goes to Jagannath Puri, then goes to South India, to all the way down to Rameshwaram, Kanyakumari, and back to Jagannath Puri, and then he goes to Vrindavan and back to Jagannath Puri. So that is 6 years. So all that is considered as Madhya Leela. So that is the whole Madhya Leela. And the Antya Leela is the last 18 years which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did his Leelas. Out of that also last 18 years, 6 years Mahaprabhu spent with all his devotees, chanting and dancing. And the last 12 years of his life, primarily he was relishing the pastimes in separation, in Gambhira, in his house with his few devotees only. So Adi Leela is first 24. Then comes the Shesha Leela, that is remaining 24. Out of Shesha Leela, we divided again into Madhya Leela and what? Antya Leela. So Madhya Leela is 6 chapters or 6 years, where he traveled to Jagannath Puri, from Jagannath Puri to South India Yatra and to Vrindavan Yatra. So the 2 yatras which Mahaprabhu took, the annual 2 yatras which Mahaprabhu took, that is the 6 years of Madhya Leela, and the last 18 years is described as the Antya Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in the Madhya Leela,
Prabhuji, you're muted.
Lord Chaitanya, after he took sannyas, after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he immediately wanted to go to Vrindavan. That was his always idea. Lord Chaitanya was very attracted to Krishna from the beginning, and when he took sannyas, he decided, now I have to go to Vrindavan. And on his way to Vrindavan, they were going, and there were 4 or 5 devotees who were traveling along with Nityananda Prabhu. And where did Mahaprabhu took sannyas? Anyone knows the place?
Bengal.
Yes, in Bengal. Which city? It was city called Katwa. That's where Kantak Nagar or Katwa was the place. That's where Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. And after sannyas, he was he wanted to go towards Vrindavan. but Lord Nityananda Prabhu was traveling with him. And Lord Nityananda, he knows the heart of Lord Chaitanya and the mission of Lord Gauranga. So he knew, and this is not the right time for Lord to go to Vrindavan, and all the devotees in Navadvip, who were his mother and Advaita Acharya Srivas Thakur, they would miss Lord Chaitanya, because that time there was no like WhatsApp or Facebook where they could update, okay, today I am in Vrindavan, I took bath in Jamuna, I am in Madan Mohan Mandir, or I am going this place or that place. So 500 years back, sannyas means somebody goes from house to a different place, go for a job. That means there is no communication. The only way probably was send a messenger or write some letter which will be posted. Somebody would have to personally carry on a horse, or sometimes through those pigeons and everything, but that was very rare. So anyway, that time, that means somebody gone, means there's no news about that person unless somebody comes from that place. So therefore, Nityananda Prabhu thought that that's not the right idea, that Lord Chaitanya goes to Vrindavan. So he directed on the way and misguided Lord Chaitanya, wrong path, and they finally reached to Shantipur. We will see that episode in the next few days. I'm just going to summarize the whole thing. And they performed a lot of kirtan. Mother came, beautiful festival happened for 10 days. And finally, Mother, Lord Chaitanya spoke to his mother and begged forgiveness that I took sannyas. I'm going to take care of you, but don't worry. Whenever you need, I'll always be there for you. Mahaprabhu convinced Sachi Mata, and Sachi Mata requested, my dear son, since you have taken sannyas, if you go to Vrindavan, it's going to be too far. From Bengal to Vrindavan is very far, and Bengal and Odisha are too nearby. So same Lord Krishna of Vrindavan is there in Jagannath Puri. So why don't you just be in Jagannath Puri? That way it will be close. I can get some news, because Navadvip and Jagannath Puri are very close by, and many people keep going from Bengal to Puri. So many people will come, and I'll come to hear from them. The news will come that you are doing fine, you're happy, you're okay. So better you go to Jagannath Puri. So on this way, finally, Mahaprabhu decides to go to Jagannath Puri. On the way, they go to very special place of Khirchor Gopinath. That story, Akshay Tritiya is coming tomorrow, Chandan Yatra beginning. That story relating to our great saint Madhavendra Puri. So Lord Chaitanya described that story, which we will hear in the 4 days from now. The 4th chapter of Madhya Leela will talk about that. And then they come to Sakshi Gopal temple. Lord Chaitanya speaks about Sakshi Gopal elaborately. And then Nityananda Prabhu breaks the sannyas danda. And then finally Mahaprabhu arrives at Jagannath Puri, where he meets with Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. There, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya was a great scholar. He thought he will teach Vedanta to Mahaprabhu. He gave 7 days lecture to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya patiently heard without speaking even a word. Then finally he asked, hey, did you hear me or not? Nobody raised. You didn't never raise your hand. You never unmuted yourself. Lord Chaitanya was hearing from Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, and Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, you never unmuted. Never. So I was not sure whether you understood or not. So therefore, finally Lord Chaitanya, after 7 days, he said, okay, I want to speak something. And then Lord Chaitanya refuted Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, whatever explanation he gave, and then made Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya a great Vaishnav scholar and a Vaishnav devotee. So that Leela happened there. And then finally Mahaprabhu decided to go to South India with one assistant. Of course, devotees were saying take many people, but Mahaprabhu said, no, I'll just take one brahmachari, Kal Krishna Das, and then he was there. And then in South India, he went to Kurmakshetra. From there, he went to Narsimhadev's temple, and he met Ramananda Rai and banks of Godavari. That discussion will come in the next few days. And there he went to Ahobalam. Then finally at Sri Ranganath temple, Mahaprabhu spent 4 months of Chaturmas, where he stayed there and had wonderful time with Venkat Bhatt and his family. He spent time there, and that's where he met Gopal Bhatta. He met Paramananda Puriji, and also that Mahaprabhu's servant who was accompanying him, Krishnadas. He got attracted to some of the tribal women, and Mahaprabhu had to catch his Shikha and then catch him back. Everyone knows why we keep a Shikha? Why the boys keep Shikha?
No, Prabhuji.
Anyone wants to say why we keep Shikha? Of course, there are various reasons, scientific reasons also. This is the small braid here, it needs protection. It is like an antenna. It is like a symbol of surrender to God. So like that, various things are there. Another reason, yes, for storing memory. Oh, Ishan says for storing memory, yes. Of course, another reason which Kaviraj Goswami mentions here is for, yeah, symbol of renunciation. Yes, that's also true. Krishna Prabhu is saying. And also, Mahaprabhu says that sometimes when a disciple goes away, the Guru can catch hold of the Shikha and bring him back. Catch him back. So Mahaprabhu caught hold of the Shikha of Kal Krishnadas and catch him back. And that's also useful. Basically, that's symbolic. And so that's how Mahaprabhu performed his South India Leela, where he found the Brahma Samhita, he found Krishna Karnamrit in Satara. So like that, many stories happened in his South India Yatra. It was a very special Yatra where so many things happened. And it's going to be a very ecstatic session when we will discuss those stories from South India. That was another beautiful section which Kaviraj Goswami describes. And then he came back to Jagannath Puri, and devotees from Bengal would come every year to Jagannath Puri to meet Lord Chaitanya. And they would spend 4 months vacation. So every year, all the devotees from Bengal, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, and those who were there with them, and from the neighboring villages of Bengal, they would come to Jagannath Puri, see the Rath Yatra, and would be there for 4 months. So we can't even imagine today 4 months of vacation every year. So how many months you get vacation in the school?
2 months.
2 months. But this Mahaprabhu and all these devotees, they would come for 4 months vacation. And Mahaprabhu had arranged nice houses for all the devotees on the banks of the beach and the Saptagram road in Jagannath Puri. So everyone was made nice facility, and Mahaprabhu would personally receive them and participate in the Jagannath Rath Yatra with all the devotees, and would have Kandicha Marjan. And what a wonderful festival. 4 months devotees would be with Mahaprabhu. And then they would go back eventually. And then finally Mahaprabhu decided to go to Vrindavan. And he took the permission from all the devotees of going to Vrindavan. And he went to on the way he went to Bengal, where he went to the house of Vidya Vachaspati, who was the brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and beautifully describes how such crowds gathered to see after Mahaprabhu went for a long time. So there were massive crowds to see Lord Chaitanya there in the house of Vidya Vachaspati. Radhanath Maharaj, whenever he would describe this pastime, he would describe that people in hundreds and thousands, when the news spread that Lord Chaitanya has come to the house of Vidya Vachaspati, people had to cross Ganga to come to that place, and there were not enough boats. And there were like some of the big boats, they had capacity of 50, 60, but there were 300, 400 people who were sitting on those boats. And somehow by Lord's arrangement, the boats did not capsize. And some of the people did not know how to swim, but they were so eager, so enthusiastic to meet Lord Chaitanya that they just walked over the Ganga. Some of them just like that uprooted trees, and on the trees that swam across the trees. Some of them found some broken, like the matkas, ghadas, the clay pots, they used that to cross over Ganga. That was the enthusiasm and eagerness of the devotees when Lord Chaitanya went to the Vidya Vachaspati, and from there he went to Puliyagram, where he delivered Devananda Pandit. So that was a very beautiful story which we will hear. And then another story which is beautifully described here there was one brahmachari, his name was Narsimhananda Brahmachari. Anyone of us heard about this brahmachari? His name Narsimhanand?
No.
He was a very nice brahmachari, very austere. And he didn't have money and all to serve the Lord, but he would serve the Lord with his mind. That's another thing we have to know is, like we have things to offer to the Lord, like we offer bhoga, we cook prasad, we offer ornaments, we offer jewels. So all those elements are made up of what? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Right? Panchamahabhut?
Yeah.
That's how everything is made up of. And when we offer it with love, the Lord accepts. So similarly, there is a way to worship the Lord through the mind. For someone who does not have these facilities, one can offer the worship in the mind. One can think, okay, one can close one's eyes and think that I am offering now, I am going to the market, getting maida from the shop, mixing with the sugar, mixing some water and some paneer in it, and then making a ball out of it and frying it in the ghee, and then I am soaking it in the sugar syrup, and now I am taking it out and putting in a silver bowl and putting in front of my deities, and I am putting little tulsi plant and tulsi leaf, and I am offering gulab jamun to my Radha Gopinath or to my deities at home. So that is another way of offering service for someone who does not have the facility. So this brahmachari, Narsimhanand, he was very expert in offering worship through his mind. So when he came to know, and there is no difference, it's the same as offering in the mind is actually the same as offering with the physical ingredients. So this brahmachari ji, when he came to know that Lord Chaitanya is going to go to Vrindavan, so what he was thinking, that the pathways are not good, there are no good roads to Vrindavan from Bengal, there are many forest animals. So what he said, okay, I will take the big boulders and trucks and personally made a beautiful road for Lord Chaitanya to walk, with nice shady trees on the sides, with some ornaments embedded on the road. So within his mind, he offered a beautiful road to Lord Chaitanya. So that is the Lord. Lord is, one of the name of the Lord is Bhav Grahi Janardhan. Anyone knows what it means, Bhav Grahi Janardhan? Why is Lord called Bhav Grahi?
He accepts the mood.
Yes, because he accepts the mood in what we offer. Krishna has everything. There are unlimited Lakshmis who are offering service to Krishna in the Vaikuntha planets. So it is not that Krishna needs our roti or sabji or bhakri or puran poli or halwa. He has everything. It is the mood in which we offer with great love when we offer, my dear Lord, this is for us, this is for you, this is not for us, this is for you, we want to offer you. So Krishna is Bhav Grahi. Grahi means Grahan Karna, means to accept. See, he's seeing mood, yes, not the things. Krishna Prabhu is saying. He's seeing the mood. Oh, sorry, Krishna Mataji is saying, yes, Krishna is saying. So that is the Bhav Grahi. Krishna accepts the Bhav, the mood in which we offer the things. So therefore, when we offer to the Lord at our home or wherever we are, we should do it with the right consciousness, with the right mood, the right bhav, in wanting to give happiness to our deities at home. That should be our mood to the Lord at home. That should be our mood. And this brahmachari was doing that, and Lord Chaitanya was very, very happy with his bhav, with his mood. And then finally the Lord arrives at Ram Keli. Ram Keli was the place where our Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik, and they were the prime minister and the home ministers in the kingdom of Nawab Hussain Shah. They were from the very aristocratic Brahmin families, but somehow Nawabji had forced them to take these positions, and they were very devotees of Lord Chaitanya, very devoted to Lord Chaitanya. They had written many letters to Lord Chaitanya actually, but somehow Lord Chaitanya had only replied to one of their letters. And now when Lord Chaitanya personally comes there and gives them darshan, and they surrender their lives, and they said that we are very low fallen people, and they were Dabar Khas and Sakar Malik. They later on became Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. These were the name. Dabar Khas and Sakar Malik were the title which was given by this Nawab Hussain Shah to them. And that's where in Ramakeli these two of gentlemen surrendered to Lord Chaitanya. They were in the very topmost post in the government, the Prime Minister and the Home Minister, but their desire of heart was to serve Lord Chaitanya. Because ultimately, actually speaking, truly speaking, this is what our scriptures say, that what pleases the person, what makes one happy, is not getting the post of a prime minister or a home minister or a finance minister or a big IIT graduate or AIMS medical professor. Or what gives real happiness to a person is when he serves the Lord. So these two great personalities, Dabir Khas, Sakar Malik, were convinced. So that's when they surrendered, and Lord Chaitanya gave them mercy. And that's when they were very, very humble, very beautiful prayers they offer. And that we will see when we come to those sections on how they express their gratitude and how they express that they were so fallen than even Jagai and Madhai. That was their mood, and that was their eagerness to basically serve. And Mahaprabhu accepted their humility, accepted their bhav, and then Mahaprabhu initiated them by giving them the name Rupa and Sanatan, and Mahaprabhu instructed them to go to Vrindavan. Eventually, that story will come also, how they reached Vrindavan and how actually in between they met Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri also. So that description also will come. And then, of course, one of the attempts Vrindavan Mahaprabhu could not reach. And then in second attempt, along with Balbhadra Bhattacharya, another of his assistants, Mahaprabhu arrives in Vrindavan, and beautiful chapters, two beautiful chapters we will be discussing what Mahaprabhu did in Vrindavan. That will be in the I think 15th or the 16th chapters, 17, 18 chapters of Madhya Leela. We will be talking in details about Lord Chaitanya's visit to Vrindavan, that we'll discuss. And then will come after Vrindavan, on his way back to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu meets Rup and Sanatan Goswami in Prayag and Varanasi. In Prayag to Rupa Goswami, and there he instructed in beautiful philosophical sections. Will come of this is called Sanatan Shiksha and Rup Shiksha, which Mahaprabhu will give. So that we will hear. And then Mahaprabhu comes back to Jagannath Puri from Varanasi. So that will be almost the end of the Madhya Leela. And in this chapter, Kaviraj Goswami also gives brief synopsis of Antya Leela, the last 18 years of Mahaprabhu. The first few chapters of Antya Leela, Kaviraj Goswami summarizes in this chapter, as we discussed earlier, because he was not sure whether he'll be able to write the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita because he was very old. So therefore he described in one line these chapters. He described about how devotees would come from Bengal every year. They would stay for 4 months, and how Lord Chaitanya we'd go to the different houses and honor prasad and have wonderful reciprocation with Brajchandra Pandit would come, Shankar Pandit would come, Haridas Thakur would come, and exchanges with Jagdanand Pandit, exchanges with Kashishwar Pandit, Paramananda Puri, with Ramananda Rai. So all these different exchanges with these different devotees would be described in detail in Ante Leela. The passing away of Srila Haridas Thakur will be described, and the punishment of Junior Haridas. There was another devotee called Junior Haridas. He did some mistake, and how Lord Chaitanya punished him and brought wonderful lessons from that, and how Sanatan Goswami comes to Jagannath Puri, and different stories will be described in the future. And the beautiful episode and the glories of Ramananda Roy will be described in this Ante, and also how Lord saved Gopinath Patnaik. That's a very beautiful episode, how Gopinath Patnaik was also one of the great exalted devotees of Lord. But somehow he misappropriated some of the funds of the king. He cheated did some cheating, and how he was about to get punished, sort of a death sentence. But then the devotees were praying for him, and he was remembering the Lord, and how the Lord's mercy, his case was pardoned, and the king became so happy. Maharaj Prataprudra. Of course, I missed about Maharaj Prataprudra's surrender, and his mercy will also be elaborately described. So all this way, this beautiful, of course, Raghunath Das Goswami's Chiradahi Mahotsav will be elaborately described, how Lord Chaitanya gives, or Nityananda Prabhu gives mercy to Raghunath Das Goswami, and how he elaborately organizes a festival of Chiradahi will be described in detail. So in this way, beautiful descriptions of these exalted personalities and the Leela of the Lords with different devotees will be described in the coming few chapters. And of course, also there will be description of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, these Goswamis reaching Vrindavan, and as instructed by Lord Chaitanya to establish the places of worship. The different places of worship, and writing Vedic literatures, compiling these literatures, all those things will also be described. So this is how this first chapter of Madhya Leela, which is basically the summary of the entire Chaitanya Leela. That's what we completed today. Thank you all very much for joining. Hare Krishna. So basically, I just read out the names of the chapters which we are going to discuss in the next few days. This was the summary which Kaviraj Goswami have described. Basically, the South India Yatra of Lord Chaitanya, the Vrindavan Yatra, Rath Yatra pastimes. So these are broadly three categories, and then the exchanges with the different devotees: Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Haridas Thakur, Chota Haridas, our Ramananda Rai, Pradyumna Mishra. So all these Lord Chaitanya's interactions. That's what will be described in the next few of these days of Caitanya Pravah. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Anyone has one question? We have 2 minutes. If somebody has some question, 2-3 minutes we have. 1 or 2 questions if somebody has. Or somebody wants to share something.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes. What is the question?
So you told that that if anyone falls to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, then they get mercy.
Yes.
So but then Chota Haridas, what about him?
Yes, he also got the mercy. He got a spiritual body and he could serve the Lord. Like Lord uses his devotees to teach us some lessons. Because if the Lord has to teach something, he uses his devotees. So in punishing his devotees, he is actually teaching us what not to do. So that's why the Lord used Chota Haridas's example to teach us what is prohibited for all of us. So, and in punishing him, the Lord actually gives him great mercy and gave him the spiritual position and he could continue his service.
Okay.
So, yes. Anyone else? One more question?
Prabhuji, can you say the place where like Caitanya Prabhu stayed in Chaturmas?
In Chaturmas, that was in Sri Rangam. That's on the bank of Kaveri. That's one of the biggest temples in India. Ranganath Swami is located there. One of the most beautiful temples in the whole of the country. Very special.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class,
Thank you.
for the brief of Madhya Leela and Anjalila.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Sachi Pran Prabhu. It seems you were in the banks of an ocean. Looks like you were in Rameswaram. I could see the Rameswaram sea behind you.
Yeah, I was invisible in Rameshwaram. I thought I was visible.
Thank you all for joining.
Yes,
Hare
yes.
Krishna.
Anyone has any question? Vishnu Priya has any doubt? I think. Vishnu Priya?
Prabhuji, I was
Yes.
thinking that who given the name to Rupa and Sanatan? What was the name of that king?
That was Nawab Hussain Shah.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Nawab Hussain Shah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Thank you
so
to
much.
everyone.
So busy schedule we are engaging you, and please forgive us. And
No, I am not so qualified. Thank you all. Very, very grateful to each one of you. Please study very nicely. This is the Pravaha, the nectarian Pravaha, which will keep us all happy and healthy.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for explaining the.
Thank you.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari bol. Radhe Radhe.
Thank
Hey,
you,
Prabhuji.
for the wonderful class.
Hey, Hari Bhakti Devi.
Prabhuji, I have
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji, I
actually,
have
I have 3 Kahoots. I have one of the class.
We don't have a time for 3. We have time for 1.
Prabhuji, can I do
Okay,
Sanket, please? I've never done quiz.
Prabhuji, please can we have Shubhangi's Kahoot of Mahabharat?
Beta, I cannot take on requests, okay? I have a restriction from the parent side to end the class on 8:30, okay? And
Prabhu, I can
Prabhuji,
do.
no problem.
Prabhuji, no problem.
I have to take one quiz, that's fine. I will definitely take one quiz.
Prabhuji, take the quiz of Madhapriya. She has never done it.
Then in backup now we have Shubhangi's quiz anytime when we have no class or some, we can play that time, okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Shubhangi.
Okay, Hari Bhakti Devi's quiz, she has presented topic. Then Madhapriya also has in quiz, I think. Madhapriya, you also have a
Yes,
quiz.
Prabhuji, I have one Sanket.
Okay, yes. So tomorrow I think we'll cover up Sanket. Tomorrow there is no quiz.
Prabhuji, I will.
Okay? Madhapriya, you can clear that. Okay.
Prabhuji, this quiz is on which topic? next topic. Prabhuji, I couldn't join. Can someone say the gay pin?
The game pin is
The game pin is 36245505. The game pin is down. Count any game.
increase the volume.
No, it's okay.
Volume is fine.
No, you
Sorry,
should-
I wrote the wrong. I gave the wrong answers. I'm so sorry.
it's okay.
The correct answer is 24 years.
Okay.
No issues.
Congratulations to all the winners.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone.
Then one more question.
Can we have one more quiz?
No, the time is up.
No, it's already